Alright, what's happening everybody? It's your man Akeen and welcome to today's vlog. Here to give you the latest news in college football. Some of the top FBS schools decided to go a different direction in coaching changes. Now I'm going to start in the Pac-12 conference where 3 head coaches were let go. Arizona State University head coach Dennis Erickson was just recently fired by athletic director Lisa Love after 5 seasons. Now in that first year at Arizona State, Dennis Erickson led the Sun Devils to a 10-win season, but in the next 4 games they failed to reach more than 6 wins, and that was the difference maker, and I understood why they got rid of them after this season, especially starting with a 6-2 start but then losing the next 4 games. Now the reason why they lost these next 4 games was because of their defense. In that 6-2 span, Arizona State's defense only gave up 21.5 points per game, but in those 4 key losses at the end of the year they gave up 37 points per game, and that was the reason why they did so bad in that second half of the season and why Dennis Erickson was let go. But he is still allowed to coach the Sun Devils in their bowl matchup, so he could end up leaving his tenure with a win. He's actually 31-30 in his tenure at Arizona State, but he could become 32-30 or 31-31 as an overall record at Arizona State. Going into Washington State, Paul Wolf was just recently fired after 4 seasons. He went 9-40. That's pretty bad, and I understood why they got rid of him. He wasn't getting any progress, any improvement for the Cougars, so they had to let them go. Now, one head coach that they're looking at to replace him is former Texas Tech head coach Mike Leach, and I think he could get the job at Washington State. And UCLA coach Rick Neuheisel was just recently removed from the team, but he is still allowed to coach them in the Pac-12 championship, so anything can happen. Now, I got another what if for you guys. What if Rick Neuheisel leads UCLA Bruins in the Pac-12 championship over Oregon? I'm sorry. I asked that. I know they're going to get killed by Oregon, but hey, it's just a thought, and maybe they could win. Highly doubt it, but anything can happen. During his tenure, his 4 seasons at UCLA, Rick Neuheisel went 21-28, and that was pretty bad, and they had to go a different direction for next season. But there is some good news for UCLA. P. Diddy Combs, his son Justin Combs, has decided to make a commitment for the Bruins next seasons. Take that, take that, take that, take that. I want to take that, take that, take that, take that. Y'all know what I'm talking about, P. Diddy, his little dance moves. But his son from New York, he's going to travel all the way to LA and have a commitment for the Bruins. So that is some good news. He's a cornerback. He's decided to play corner at UCLA, and I think this is a good upgrade for this team on the defensive side. Now, overall, between these 3 head coaches, I really think Dennis Erickson has the best chance of getting the job quickly because of his resume. 2 national championships at Miami. He won a Fiesta Bowl at Oregon State a couple years back, and he led 5 different schools to 9-win seasons, and that is a great resume. So I believe he's going to get a job pretty much sooner than the other 2 coaches, but anything can happen. But I think Dennis Erickson is going to be okay. He's going to move on, and he does want to continue head coaching and coaching for students and kids across the nation at wherever he's going to end up being. I think he's going to still get a job easily compared to the other 2 head coaches. Now, we do not have that many African American head coaches in the FBS division, and 2 was just recently fired. Turner Gill of Kansas and Larry Porter of Memphis. Both head coaches only coached 2 seasons at their respective schools. Memphis head coach Larry Porter, he was 3-21 in those 2 seasons, and Turner Gill was 5-19, 1-16 in conference play, Big 12, and that is just pretty bad. Just 1 win, that is pathetic, and I understood why Kansas State had to let them go as well as Memphis. And Ron Zook of Illinois, after 7 seasons, 34-51, Illinois, the Fighting Illini decided to let him go as well. He wasn't doing too well just recently. They did go to a Rose Bowl a couple years ago with Rashad Mendenhall and company, but after that they weren't doing too well. They did win a Texas Bowl last season, and I kind of understood why they got rid of him, but at the same time I kind of don't, because it wasn't that bad. He didn't have that bad of a season. There was a couple of wins that they should have had, but I don't think they should have let him go. I think they should have gave him another chance. Now, we all know about head coach Joe Paterno of Penn State, a fellow Big Ten school of the Fighting Illini. Penn State head coach was out, so they're actually looking for a new head coach over there. They're looking at Al Golden of Miami. They even looked at Urban Meyer, who I will get to in just a second, who used to coach the Florida Gators, and they're looking at Dan Mullen of Mississippi State, and that is probably that big headhunter that they want at Penn State. And another bad news for Joe Paterno, his prestigious Coach of the Year award was just vacated away from the Paul Bear Bryant Memorial Club, they decided to not release that award anymore. Frank Beamer was last year's inaugural winner. But that's going to be discontinued because of the issues of Penn State and Joe Paterno and all the cases involving Jerry Sandusky. But going back to Urban Meyer, he was just recently hired at Ohio State, which was kind of weird at first because he was denied that he was even offered the job. But now he has his dream job coaching at his old school that he did. He was an assistant coach back in the 80s, but he is now back and he's looking to turn around the Buckeye season. Also going back to the Pac-12 conference, Arizona State decided to hire head coach Rich Rodriguez. Rich Rodriguez had a terrible tenure at Michigan, but had a good one while he was at West Virginia, and I think he's going to try to redeem his career at Arizona State and turn their season around next year. Anything can happen. I'll keep you guys posted in the latest news in college football. Thank you for watching this vlog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.